Okay, so we're down to enriching sounds. Now, I'm going to do, for this lesson, a specific method called layering. So what I'm going to do for each one of these sounds, I'm going to add another sound to play the same melody so that the sound actually sounds richer. So imagine having a violin and a piano and a cello together playing the same melody. It's going to sound richer, it's going to sound fuller, bigger, especially, for synthesizer sounds. So this is a really, like, I could even say, an overused technique in popular music today, having sounds layered like that. Now, a special way we can do that right here in Ableton is, let's say, for this lead sound, I could, of course, duplicate this track and then just change, the preset right there. So let's say open this synthesizer for the duplicate for the second one. And let's say try to change it into something else, to another plug. Let's see what these sound like. Let's see what this one is going to sound like added to the original. You see, now it sounds fuller. Not only that it gets louder, because now two sounds are playing it. Just having those two sounds that are quite different and, as you can see, in different octaves, playing this same melody makes it fuller because it takes up much more space in the spectrum. Let me just mute this other sound we just added so you can see the difference. So you see, by just adding another sound that's different from the first one, we're just getting, a richer sound. So let's find a better one. Each one is going to be different. It's going to add something that the other one didn't have. But which one is perfect? Well, it just depends on you. What do you like in a combination with the one we had originally? This one sounds cool, but I'm gonna solo that to find something that I really like. Let's see what this sounds like. Let's try this one. Actually, I like this, but I think it's too high of an octave. So in that octave, I would say we already have this, see this plug right there that's filling in the gaps. So I would try to find something that's lower, or just lower the octave of the one that I found that I actually liked. Let's see the next sound. I like this one. I like the, the reverb it's making, that like kind of latent reverb it has. So what I'm going to do is take a MIDI effect, take the pitch MIDI effect right there onto that track, and I'm going to lower that by 12 semitones, which means I'm going to lower that by an octave. Maybe that's too low, but let's check. Let's judge within the context of the entire song. Yeah, that's too low. I'm going to turn off that effect. Now, I think the problem is that it's really similar to the other one. So sometimes they, phase add, and sometimes they, are phase opposite. So they eat each other off. So let's find another one. This one could be nice. Now, I think that's actually perfect. So this is the perfect one for that. Now, for this, let's say the other line, or maybe even this accompany line that we have right here. So for this, so another technique I could use here in Ableton is this. I can click on this instrument right there and select group. And now that I've grouped that instrument, I can actually duplicate it right here. I can duplicate the layer. So now I have two layers, and both of these synths are going to play whatever MIDI comes in. So actually I have a synth now in this instrument track made out of two synths, made out of two serums. So in the second one, I can actually change the preset to something else. Let's see what that's going to sound like. I'm going to solo this channel, which it already is. I'm going to solo the layer for which we are actually changing the preset for. So I like this one. This one is nice. I'm just going to make it lower in volume. Let's hear both of those together. So you can see the difference without it, with it, and without it. Sounds much richer, sounds much nicer actually, more pros. So I don't even have to add too many more effects or anything. I just added another synth sound to play the same melody. Now I have two synths playing the same thing. So let's hear that in the context of the song. I'm just going to, let it play and then mute it so you can hear the difference, hopefully. So as you can see, not only that it's actually louder in volume, because that's not the sole point. The point is actually layering sounds like this to get a richer sound, to fill up that piece of the spectrum that we did not have. So it's actually like just having one synth with, let's say, 5 or 6 oscillators and 4 or 5 filters instead of 2. So I would say that this is the equivalent of having, let's say, a really much more complicated synthesizer. But what we are doing is we're layering two sounds, playing the same melody to have that melody sound richer, to have that sound be richer. Now we can do that same thing for, our drums. Let's say this clap. So what I can do with this clap, the same thing. Click on it. Let's say, because this clap has a pre-delay, I'm actually going to duplicate the entire track. And on this other track, I'm going to remove this, delay time, where we had like -10 pre-delay because of this delay in the actual clap. Now on this second track right here, where we have the same clap happening, I'm going to select another clap. So let's see what I have. Clap from somewhere. I like this, like glass breaking. Okay, so let me see what is the delay for this. So it's 80 milliseconds until it actually gets to this. So it'll have this entire pre-delay thing just before it hits. Now I could have used that as an audio file, making a new audio track, pressing Ctrl T, making a new audio track, dragging that in, and then, manually inserting this into the timeline, making sure that, my transient is right on point. But then, as I've told you, if I had to change anything about it, I hate to do that because I would have to change it in the entire arrangement if I change my mind about it, at least a little bit. So now I have it on this track in a sampler. I'm going to add that much pre-delay as it has in the actual sample because I checked it. So 80 minus 80, okay, because I checked it right here. You see, I can see the actual delay time. So that's 80 milliseconds. See, 1,000th part of a second. Yep. Together with this clap. Now I can make this new one. Yep. a bit less loud because it was really overtaking everything. So let's hear what that sounds like together with the drums. Right there where we have all the drums. Now what I don't like is I've noticed some distortion coming out of this compressor right there. Let me see what that sounds like without this compressor. So this actual kick drum sounds like that. I don't really like it. I really don't. So you see, me having this kick drum in MIDI, the only thing I need to do to change this kick drum is search for another kick drum like that and just replace it. Where would I find a nice kick drum? So let's see which one works for us. Maybe this one. Nice. Wait, I really love that. I really love that. Now I don't have any of that distortion that was actually in the kick drum by itself. So now I can apply back my compression. Now that's amazing. I don't understand how I didn't hear that kick drum being that bad. But you see, me having that in MIDI and, just, making the entire song around that one, it didn't stop me to make a song around it. And now that I decided it doesn't feel right, I just changed it with 2 clicks. Now that's important for me at least because, you see, in my workflow, this is how I do it. I just don't try to make it perfect from the very beginning. I just go on to make the track, to make the idea, to put my emotion into the song. And then after that, all of this is interchangeable easy because you see I'm using samplers with MIDI. So to change a kick drum in the entire song, I just had to drag in another one that I like. And I would say that's the biggest benefit. Now I have layered this clap. I have changed the kick drum. And as you see, I've layered some of these synths to have a richer sound, and you can do that with 2 or 3, so it doesn't have to be 2 sounds at once. I could add even another one on top of this. So let's exaggerate. Let's do that. I'm just going to double this layer right there. And in this new serum that just came up, I'm going to find another preset that I like. So I'm just going to solo that, solo the actual track. Let's see what we are getting. I like this one. A little bit kind of a bit reduction kind of a feeling. Nice. So let's see what that sounds like together with all of these. I think that sounds much better. So by the time we got to this part, you see, we managed to, fix up the synth sounds and add more sounds on top to make them richer, add another clap to make it richer. I actually heard that my kick drum was really bad, or at least bad for this song. So I managed to change that in a couple of, draws and finding a new kick drum, just dragging it in. Done.